Welcome to Team Tigio Court TV, where we upload videos every single day. So make sure you subscribe to our channel, like our videos, and share our videos.
We will go on the record in the matters 24 CM 228 and 388, State of Wisconsin versus Thomas Herman. The state appears through District Attorney Kevin Schmidt in person. Mr. Herman appears in person with his counsel, Daniel Chapman. We're set here today in this matter for a status conference, but the court is converting it to a plea and sentencing. Mr. Chapman did allude to that fact or possibility at the last hearing. Mr. Chapman, I have in front of me the plea questionnaire waiver of rights form. Can you please recite on the record what the agreement is?
Judge, Mr. Herman will be pleading guilty to disorderly conduct and obstructing an officer. I think that was counts 2 and 3. The remaining counts will be dismissed and read in, and there's a joint recommendation for a withheld sentence, 1 year probation.
And it's my understanding that he still resides in Minnesota?
He does, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
We're going to hope it gets transferred, and if it doesn't, we will hope the department can supervise him from across the state line, but it's all we can do.
I have in front of me a plea questionnaire waiver of rights form. Mr. Herman, do you recognize the document?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
And did your attorney go over that document with you thoroughly?
Yes, he did.
Essentially, did he read it to you word for word?
Yes.
And so you understand everything on the document?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
And this is your signature on the second page?
Yes, it is.
You are pleading guilty to 1 count of disorderly conduct and 1 count of obstructing an officer. You are 66 years old and you have 12 plus years of schooling. You can read, write, you understand the English language. That's all correct?
That's correct.
You have had certain medications today and it's due to treatment for a mental illness or disorder. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Do any of your medications interfere with your ability to comprehend or understand what's going on?
No, exact opposite. But
So glad to hear you say that. That was going to be my next question. So they actually help you.
oh, yes.
Okay. And you are taking them as prescribed?
Yes, and I haven't had any further problems with law while taking medication, you know.
I appreciate that statement as well. Your attorney went over your constitutional rights with you. He should have went over them in detail. Do you understand those rights?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Do you need me to go over those rights in any more detail?
No, I've comprehended that.
And do you understand that by pleading guilty, you're waiving and giving up those rights?
Yes, I do.
Do you understand that if you're not a citizen of the United States, your pleas could result in your deportation?
I do.
You understand that as it relates to these counts, that the state is going to have to prove certain things occurred on or around November 29th, 2024. As to the disorderly conduct, they would have to prove on or around November, 28th, 2024 in Burnett County, Wisconsin, in a public place you engaged in indecent, profane, boisterous, unreasonably loud, or otherwise disorderly conduct, which under the circumstances did tend to provoke a disturbance. Do you understand what the state would have to prove?
Yes.
Do you understand the maximum possible penalty could be a fine of up to $1,000 or imprisonment of up to 90 days or both?
I do.
As to count 3, obstructing an officer, the state would have to prove on that same date, that same time, that same place, you obstructed an officer while an officer was doing an act in an official capacity and with lawful authority by failing to obey the law enforcement officer's commands. Do you understand what the state would have to prove?
I do.
Do you understand the maximum possible penalty could be a fine of up to $10,000 or imprisonment of up to 9 months or both?
I do.
Do you understand that there's an agreement reached between the parties for a recommendation to the court for 1 year of probation with a withheld sentence? Do you understand what that means?
I do.
Do you understand I'm not bound to follow that recommendation?
I do.
I could sentence you to anything that I would deem appropriate based upon the facts of this case, the circumstances, and your past criminal record, et cetera. Do you understand that?
I do. Yes, Your Honor.
Do you still wish to proceed and enter a guilty plea?
I do.
Did your attorney go over with you that criminal complaint where it alleges certain things that occurred on the date of the incidents?
Yes.
He went over those facts in that original charging document that you received?
Yes.
And for the most part, as it relates to disorderly conduct, and obstructing an officer. Are those facts accurate?
There.
And so you're admitting here today that you in fact did cause a disturbance that provoked, or you did engage in conduct that provoked a disturbance?
I do. It's unbelievable, but I do, Your Honor.
And you also are admitting here today that you obstructed an officer?
I do.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Chapman, may the court use the probable cause section of the criminal complaint to find a factual basis?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has anyone made any threats or any promises to you, Mr. Herman, for you to plead guilty to these charges?
No,
You're doing so freely and intelligently, telling the court you fully understand what you're doing
I am.
and
Yeah,
voluntarily?
I am.
Has your attorney represented you competently?
Yes, yeah.
And he's answered all of your questions?
Yes, yes.
And he's looked at this matter thoroughly?
Yep,
And you're satisfied with his services?
I am, Your Honor.
Any questions for the court or your attorney before we proceed?
No,
As to count 2, disorderly conduct in 24 CM 228, how do you wish to plead?
guilty.
As to count 3, obstructing an officer in the same case, how do you wish to plead?
I'll plead guilty.
Court will find your pleas of guilt are done knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily. I will find you understand your constitutional rights and what it means to waive and give up those rights. I'm going to find a factual basis to accept your pleas of guilt. Based on that, I will find you guilty of count 2 and count 3 in 24 CM 228. The remaining counts and the other case will be dismissed and read in for purposes of sentencing. A judgment of conviction will be entered today. Argument, Mr. Schmidt.
Mr. Herman's criminal history is really interesting. It goes back to 1992. I've never seen a person with more convictions for disorderly conduct than this. He has 13 or 14 prior convictions for that offense. He's got no convictions for drugs, no convictions for stealing, nothing like that. It would appear his behavior consistently for a very long time has been similar to this. The behavior here was bizarre and erratic. I think in my charging notes, I thought it seemed psychotic, to be honest. I think he must have mental health issues. One of the officers wrote that he believed that Mr. Herman smelled of alcohol or THC, but I don't know beyond that. So the goal of this is really to get in there and do something to figure out what's going on with Mr. Herman and deal with it. Because if all you're getting is DC convictions, then you're not really getting, nobody is spending resources to fix the behavior. And that results in a silly situation where someone is stuck in the criminal justice system, like Mr. Herman, because he needs something and no one's figuring out what it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Chapman.
Judge, Mr. Herman's last conviction for disorderly conduct, I believe, was in 2014. Yes, these are mental health related. Mr. Herman tells me his diagnosis is hyperbipolar. He's on a mood stabilizing drug. I've talked to his social worker through the VA. He's got a caseworker who helps him with housing and getting to his appointments and making sure he takes his medications, but he's not on supervision for anything in Minnesota. He is, as I said, a veteran. He served from 78 to 82. And after this incident, he was hospitalized at Essentia Health for a while. I agree that supervision, just to make sure Mr. Herman is following through with his medications, is appropriate. If he were to get revoked, I would not think this case would normally call for too much jail, but he did waste a lot of people's time. A lot of 911 calls for ludicrous purposes, and locking himself in a room that he was kicked out of obviously took a lot of police resources, but this really was mental health related. I discussed with Mr. Herman the possibility of an NGI plea, but we both kind of agreed that for the behavior involved, a probation disposition is probably less onerous on Mr. Herman than a involuntary commitment on an NGI plea. And there was probably alcohol involved that would have disputed that plea anyway. This is a good resolution. Crossing my fingers that Mr. Herman never gets revoked, and I'm hoping that probation can supervise him across the border, because I don't know if Minnesota is going to transfer it. But this is what we can do.
Thank you. Mr. Herman, is there anything you want to tell me, you want to let me know?
Well, currently, I meet up with my psychiatrist, and he does blood work and checks my levels on medication. He calls, we talk to each other on the phone about once every 3 months. And As long as I take my medication, I don't get loopy,
Okay, Mr. Herman, why were you in Burnett County?
I was just traveling around.
I think you were at the casino. So
Yes, I
you were-
was.
You were there and, but you have no other connection to Burnett County?
No,
And do you have any intention to come back to Burnett County other than probationary needs?
no,
Okay, so if I ask you if you will ever come back to the Danbury Casino or the Little Turtle Hurdle Casino, you would tell me you have no desire to come back?
I have no desire to go to a casino, no.
I just care about my casinos here in the Burnett County. So do you have any intention to ever come back here?
No,
Okay. And you are seeing your psychiatrist through the VA,
yes, I am.
and you are now taking your prescriptions as prescribed,
I am. I have been.
and you weren't at this time,
No, I
correct?
wasn't.
And so at the time of these incidents, would you say that you had an understanding or you knew what was going on and what you were doing?
Yes, I did. See, one who's manic enjoys mania. When you're manic, it's a rush. So you're the only one that's having fun, though. Nobody around you is having fun. But I now know it always gets me in trouble. So
I'm glad to hear that. Are you able to recognize when you may be going into a manic state?
I am. I just, my sleep pattern screws up. I can go days without sleep. And I sleep 6 to 8 hours a night now.
So since this incident, which was almost a year ago, have you had any periods where you think you may be slipping into a manic state?
No,
And do you believe it's because you are taking your medications
I am.
and you're going to continue to do so?
I am.
And do you swear to the court that you're going to do so?
I swear. It's a lot better than being behind bars.
Yes, it truly is. I'm going to say that in terms of seriousness, I see this as serious, not the most serious, but it is serious. And as your attorney stated, you wasted a lot of people's time that could be doing other things and handling other investigations and things that were far more serious than your conduct that day. But at least your conduct was able to be controlled. But the court is aware that after the incidents, shortly thereafter or right after, you did go into the hospital, you did see your VA, and you were figuring out what was going on and how to handle that. And you did with getting on your medications and taking them as prescribed. I think on your medications, you're not a risk or a harm to the community in any way. You're doing well. You seem to be in a very good disposition today. Not happy because you're in court, but not sad, not frustrated or angry. You're sitting here and you're saying, Judge, I'm taking responsibility. I know what I did. I know exactly what I did. At the time, I wasn't understanding the impact on others because I was experiencing that high with that manic state. But you know what you did was wrong.
Yes.
And so I do fully appreciate that. And I appreciate when people can admit their wrongs and or their failures, and they can do something to change that and to make sure that there are steps that will stop that from happening again.
Sure.
And so if you feel like you're going into a manic state, what do you have set up as a plan? Do you have a plan?
I have my nurse. I can speak to her right away. I have a social worker that's she's her and I are pretty tight. So these people know me. The people I live with, we have a little smoking circle, and they would know if I was on a manic state. They did witness part of that last one I had.
Okay.
I was back down here before I went back up to Burnett, and they was wondering what the hell happened to me. Who's this guy? And so there are people who know, and they know who I am, and they see me every day. So they would let me know if they'd seen anything change.
Okay, and do you regularly go to the VA for health checkups?
I do.
How often?
Well, see, I got a couple other different problems I have to deal with. It's good. Every couple of months I go there.
Okay. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm pretty confident this is not going to transfer, probation won't transfer to Minnesota. This is not a serious enough case for Minnesota to say, I'm gonna take the risk and I'm going to oversee you on probation. Even if you lived in Burnett County, I'm not sure that probation would be useful, except for making sure and monitoring that you're going to your psychiatrist, you're going to your doctor. Essentially, they would be your babysitter, just to make sure you're doing what you need to do and you're doing it as you need to do it. And so I don't think probation is appropriate here. You have no intention to come back to Burnett. You said no, you're not.
No.
You recognize what was going on. You're taking your medications as prescribed. You have a plan in place. If you do notice you're slipping to manic, or your friends in your smoking circle recognize that you're slipping to manic. So I'm not going to place you on probation. You've done a lot of changing in this last year, and I recognize that, and I think others do as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to assess DNA surcharges, $200 for each count. You do have attorney's fees. Right now, I believe you have $650 total in your kitty in the amount that you've paid. So we'll take $400 if there is any remaining after paying your attorney. Well, actually, Mr. Chapman, can we just pay this first and then your
Yes.
bill later?
It doesn't matter to me.
Okay, so just make sure that your court costs are paid first,
Okay.
and then your attorney can be paid after. I don't know what his bill's gonna be. He is very fair with his bills. So there will be $250 remaining to go towards your attorney, okay?
Okay.
And so as soon as we know what his final bill is, you will get a bill that says you owe this much to the county for his services, and then you're gonna need to pay that off. But again, I can't see that this is going to be too drastic or a dramatic bill.
All right.
You have 20 days to appeal. Should you fail to appeal within 20 days, you do lose that right. I need your DNA. You're going to go to the sheriff's department. You're going to provide that DNA. And then once you do, you're free to leave. This may be something where you can have your DNA expunged from the system through a written letter to the Department of Justice. Ask your attorney how to do it if you want to do that. I wish you the best.
Thank you,
Please
John.
continue to take your medication as prescribed. Please continue to see your psychiatrist. Please listen to your friends if they say, hey, Thomas, we're seeing that you're slipping a little bit. Maybe you should go see your doctor.
They call it bouncing off the trees.
Okay, we see you bouncing off the trees. Go see your doctor, okay?
Okay.
I believe that covers everything. Mr. Schmidt, anything I'm missing?
Nothing from me.
Mr. Chapman?
I will go over appellate rights with him, Judge.
All right, thank you. Then we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One more signature I need from you.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So you know what happened?
Yep.
Do you know what it means?
Yes, I do.
Is there anything about this you would like to appeal?
No.
I'm going to check that box, but like it says right here, you have 20 days. So if you decide, if you change your mind or if you have questions about that, give me a call. Just sign and date there.
Okay. Hey, now what's this DNA thing?
Anybody convicted of a crime in Wisconsin has to pay a DNA sample.
Oh.
You have to submit a cheap swab and you have to pay a $200 surcharge.
I do that right down today.
You can. I just walked down to the sheriff's department window and she's going to give you some paperwork on that too.
And then other than that,
That's it.
that's it.
Yep.
I owe you some money.
Well, you just keep making your payments to the clerk reports. I'll submit my invoice. I think my invoice looks like it's about $300.
Oh, 300.
But you shouldn't have too much more to pay.
Okay. Thank you.
Pick up your paperwork from her and you're good to go.
All right, Mr. Daniels. Thank you.